just saying that I'm on the wrong side of this game that we've been playing. I was waiting, now I'm wasting my time. Sometimes in my life I can't help lying, but I guess I can try tonight. If it feels right, I think I'll find another way to get by. Up high and out of my mind. So tonight, if it feels right, I think I'll find another way to get by. Cause when I'm coming down, I'm searching for I think I found. When I think I found, but you know what I'm asking for, but you don't hold me like before anymore.
Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. It is me coming back to you with something that is so soon off your earlobes. You've heard it lately. So lately, in fact, it just satisfied your Brisbane-based indie pop rock four-piece vibes. In fact, these vibes are so strong, I'm seeing nothing but blue. And in fact, would you believe that is very close to the name of said Brisbane indie pop rock four-piece. The song's called Lately. The band is called With Blue. And they are a Brisbane indie pop rock four-piece who've just released their brilliant debut EP, Pleasure Lies. It's a 4-track EP for a phenomenal four-piece. And I'm here with a bit of foresight with the brilliant lead guitarist of said outfit, Tom from With Blue. Tom, welcome to the show. Welcome to Bar Talk.
Thank you very much, Daniel. It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I think I've eased us in nicely to that.
I think, yeah, that was very, very smooth indeed.
I'm trying to stay serious. I can't. I'm feeling very relaxed right now. I don't know about you. I've got a beer, and we were talking about this before we started the interview. Having a couple of beers. Got a nice beef brisket cooking in the background later for dinner.
Yeah. I'm please relaxed. So.
You guys just don't understand. Lockdown's treating me well. Far too wellerer than it should be. Because if this wasn't lockdown, Tom, and I'm sure you understand this perfectly. If this wasn't lockdown, you know what I'd be doing? I'd be getting on the piss, seeing some random ass music gig, and not living my life to the fullest.
Yeah. I definitely believe you there, but I'm glad we could ease the pain a little bit with our music.
I'm just trying to soften the blow, so to speak. But nonetheless, the song was beautiful. It's a lovely composition. I want to say well done on releasing the EP.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Yeah, very, very exciting couple of weeks it's been.
It has been a couple of weeks since release. We are late in the game, you know. But as they say, good things come to those who wait, and I hope many good things are going to come through via this chat today. I mean, firstly, it must be a pleasure, and it's not a lie. It must be a pleasure having that EP finally out there. Yeah,
it really is. I mean, a lot of the songs we've had sort of in the bank or been chipping away at for a little while, a couple of years. We did a lot of the writing last year, and we've been playing them live for ages as well. So to finally have them out is pretty surreal and a bit of a relief. And it's also a bit weird, you know. You kind of, we're so used to these songs, but a lot of people just hearing them for the first time. So that's really cool to get some fresh opinions on it.
Yeah, I was going to say, and tell me if I'm wrong, but you guys had your little EP show the other day too.
Yeah, yep. So just shy of a week after the release, we had a launch show at a venue called Black Bear Lodge in Brisbane, which, we were very lucky to not, for it to not fall into, a period of lockdown or restrictions. I mean, we were pretty sure that something was going to happen, but for some reason it didn't, and all went ahead, which was awesome.
Thursday, I was going to say September 23rd it was.
Yes.
Thursday night, so it is. Thursday's an interesting night to do an EP launch. It's not... I find that when you've got weekend EP launches, they end up being a beer-induced mess because everyone's not working. But Thursday night, it's sort of this interesting sort of halfway point where we're not quite at the end of the week, but we're getting close.
Yeah.
Really, but it's sort of an interesting vibe. Usually you get quite an attentive crowd on a Thursday because they're in that sort of interesting space between the two. Well, firstly, how was it to put it out there on that launch?
It was great. I mean, our fans, friends, family, whatever you want to call it, who were there, were keen to get on a little bit, have a pretty good time. So, despite it being a Thursday, I think Thursdays are on the come up as an event sort of night. I love it. I've always loved a Thursday night thing because
you can only get away with it. I was going to say you can only get away with it if you're up and coming, because if you're already established, Thursdays are just not viable for you. But But if you get in there, you're still in the up and coming stage. The Thursdays are great.
I mean, I'd like to say that we chose it and it was the perfect, day and everything. But the reality was also that we probably weren't going to get booked on a Friday or a Saturday at any venues we wanted to play at. But no, we were super happy to do it. And we ended up selling it out, which was awesome. And we had dancing back and stuff, so everyone was able to really get into it. We added a few new songs and new covers and played sort of the longest set that we'd done.
We're talking like something like a 90-minute set or something.
Oh, it wasn't not that long. It was an hour.
Okay.
We're not doing like Bruce Springsteen hours here or anything. But we'll get there eventually. Maybe the next EP launch we'll try and push it. Do a 3-hour set. Why not? Also, because we don't have enough songs, but we could just probably repeat it a few times. I don't know. If people are drinking enough, it probably wouldn't matter.
They're the 10-minute jazz breakdown coming into it. That's where that comes in handy.
The singer, Jared, the singer, he can walk off stage for a bit, go get a beer or something. We can just vamp on some terrible jam that we come up with.
I knew a band that was literally their shtick.
Really?
There was this set. Yeah, every set they would pencil it in that the lead singer would go to get a drink and then do this sort of bass drum breakdown. And it's funny the first time. I mean, look, again, it's a gimmick. Gimmicks are going to get repetitive if you're too familiar with the band. But I mean, there's worse gimmicks that you can have.
It's true, and it's hard because you're playing for fans, but you're also playing for people who might be their first show. So
do you guys have any quote gimmicks?
Any gimmicks?
On stage?
Not particularly.
Because I feel like the best ones don't come on purpose. You don't plan them out. They come accidentally and go, this is actually not a bad idea.
Yeah, I think we've got to kind of wait for something to come to us. But we played with another band who did they ended up finishing early, or they had some sort of times. A band called the Funny Gems. They've got like a full horn section and saxophones and stuff. And so at the end of their set, they're like, oh, we can just like keep playing if you guys want. And so they just do like a 20-minute jam on Chameleon by Herbie Hancock, and they're just going around, each doing solos. And then they've got a mate in the crowd who also played trumpet, like hadn't like practiced or anything. And they're like, fuck it, just get on stage, come play solo. I don't know, why not? So that kind of stuff. Yeah, very, very organic. But yeah, we'll have to see what crazy ideas we come up with.
So that's pretty standard for the jazz world. But then when this like band, this band that sort of sits on the edge, they might be rock and jazz, and they had a rock gig. It does stand out, doesn't it? I
think so. There was we've probably been a bit discouraged from the jam because we went to Jungle Love Festival this year, which is a festival, up in Queensland. And they have a jam stage, like a 24-hour jam stage, which is just going for the 3 days.
Wait, what? So just like there's always someone on the stage for the 3 full days?
Literally always. Literally like you go on 3 a.m., 10 a.m., like whatever you want. There's usually at least 4 people on stage, if not more.
That's awesome. That's an awesome concept.
It's great. Yeah, they have a drum kit. They have like keys and synths and microphones, a couple of guitars, like kind of everything you'd want. And so, but it's a real mixed bag because you go at like you're always sort of walking past it, and it's the only stage that's open late at night as well. So you see some of the best jams you've ever seen when you have it so happens that a bunch of amazing musicians are just on stage. But then, the 3:30 a.m. shift on the jam stage, when everyone's coming down pretty hard, you can also see some of the worst jams you've ever seen, which is an experience in itself to watch a jam like hang together by a thread as everyone's off in their own world doing whatever. And it's still going, it never stops. So that's very impressive that it never stops. But yeah, you gotta be a bit cautious when you walk past it.
But that's the thing. Like, if you're not there, you're not going to see the magic. There's a certain magic about that sort of late night jam, and I've been in a couple of them, and you've got to be in the mood. There's got to be. You can't be fully sober. I feel like at those ones, if you're not. Yeah. If you haven't plied a couple of drinks, and when you say that, makes me think of a time at this bar in Belgrade that I used to go to every now and again down here in Melbourne. That we went, and then the band, they'd finished their set, and then they just started jamming with whoever was in the crowd. And I don't know how. I'm not normally the guy to get up, but I had drunk enough whiskey that they'd made me get up and play this guy's strat. And the guy that owned it, he dug in the frets. It was apparently his thing because he liked having the dug in frets for the bending. And I was like, I can't play this, but I still had a proper crack, and it was a lot of fun. And then my friend, who's not musical, goes, "That looks so awesome. You look like you're having so much fun." I was like, "Yeah," because I was drunk, but at the same time,
but you could barely play this instrument.
Probably the few drinks didn't help. But it's like, okay, I'm gonna keep it simple, but I'm gonna just like get rowdy. But it was good times.
But as long as particularly something like at a festival, if you're pretty drunk and everyone else is probably pretty drunk who's watching, it does take the pressure off a little bit.
It takes the pressure off a lot.
Yeah. So, so it's a great kind of atmosphere.
Yeah. So what was the festival called?
It's called Jungle Love. So it was my first time going. I think it's been going for a while, and I think they had to cancel it. Yeah, like last year, and they sort of weren't sure if they were going to get it up this year. But honestly, one of the most relaxed and just like enjoyable festival experiences I've had. Just because there's not a lot of policing in terms of like what like alcohol you're bringing in and that kind of thing. But that actually means that there's not that much tension around. There's obviously lots of staff and people there to help out, but I didn't really see anyone needing like, you go to some festivals and there's like people everywhere needing like intense medical supervision. But it was strange. There was like babies there.
No illegal strip searches of underage girls. New South Wales police.
Yeah, exactly. They could probably take note. So that's about
you told we said we're going to be careful, not get too political, but
yeah, we're not a hyper political band, so I don't know if they'd appreciate me saying anything too.
That's all we're going to say about that.
Yeah. But yeah, and it was great. And I don't know, like also going to a festival with not heaps of expectations about who we're going to see, because I didn't know a lot of the bands playing. So you just like walk around and you discover some just incredible stuff. Just when you just don't have an agenda, you don't have like a list of bands you got to try and jump between. And it's also a small festival, so walking from the campsite to the main stage wasn't like a couple kilometer hike like it can be at some of the bigger ones. So
what is it in? Is it in Brisbane proper, or is it out of town?
No, so it's I think it's Imbil, which is sort of a bit more in like north and inland, I believe. So it's a bit more inland. It's got like a little kind of creek there, and I think it's sometimes used as like a campground, like a school campground sort of thing. And then it turns into like a festival. They might hold a few festivals there, but yeah, great for like a smaller festival.
Well, I was going to say, have you guys ever played any of that festival circuit yet, or is that a market you guys are keen but yet to tap into?
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate. We would love to get more involved in that sort of thing. But most of our shows have been, just your smaller like headline shows, and we do like a lot of support shows for other local bands, stuff like that. So yeah, we haven't quite cracked into the festival circuits or anything. But yeah, hopefully, I mean, we have been gigging a lot more this year. So because last year, because of COVID and also just because of where we're at as a band, we just didn't really gig a whole lot.
Funny that.
But we've, yeah. It sounds like a familiar story you might be hearing.
It's a tale as old as time being specifically starting March 2020.
Yeah, seems like it. But yeah, this year we've been lucky, like being in Brisbane, I guess, but we've managed to gig a whole lot. And so yeah, maybe now with this release, and if we've got some more stuff coming out sort of next year, we can try and get more into that. I mean, I feel like it'll be a lot of fun just to play in a lineup of a bunch of great bands, and just be there on that side of things.
With let's talk a bit about the EP, because in all seriousness, as much as I'm sure you love, you're talking about your dreams and aspirations of different festivals you'd love to play.
Yeah, bring me back down to reality, maybe.
Yeah. But you guys obviously have done, you've done the EP and it's come out. Tell us a bit about that process, because it doesn't really. Look, I'm not going to lie. You've been a bit sparse on the details in terms of preparations, guys. I have no idea how you guys put it together. Normally there's a bit of it was done by this person in this studio. You've given me nothing. You guys are trying to keep the mystique going.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep the mystery alive, so keep people guessing, keep you guessing. But yeah, well, I guess we sort of started it last year. And to be honest, like, with COVID and stuff, like it would have been awful being, a band that had like a big tour planned, or they just released something, or they had like a whole lot of shows. It wasn't the worst time for us. We were keen to kind of get more into a writing phase anyway, and like writing and recording. So, when we were in sort of lockdown and stuff, we ended up having a pretty consistent like demoing process. So like a couple of us have like small like home studios just at our place, and so we just sort of have a Dropbox full of sort of half songs that someone had thrown up, and then we'd one of us pick one and take it and kind of add parts to it, and just we'd have these demos just slowly developing and building, which was great to have that kind of space, and one member could take it away and add and basically turn the song into to align with like their vision for it, and then bring it back to the band and then kind of reassess it. So that was really cool. And so from that period, I guess we kind of ended up with these 4 songs. I mean, initially we were only going to record 2 and maybe 3, but it ends up being 4. So we by the time we got to the studio, so then we planned to do 3 at the studios. We went to Heliport Studios, which was on the Sunshine Coast.
I was going to ask where you did it, yeah. So usually when they this is a bit of background notes for you folks, a bit of industry insight. When they usually don't indicate where they've done it, it usually means that they've self-produced it.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So you guys didn't. You went to the Sunshine Coast to record it.
We did, yeah. Like we self-produced the demos, but we were kind of like, we'll probably just take we'll take them to like a proper studio and then get that whole treatment. Ends up going to the sunny coast. We probably should have. It was kind of an hour and a half drive each morning, so we probably should have stayed there. But we ended up just making the trek each day.
It's if any further, and you wouldn't be worth it, would it?
Yeah,
but an hour and a half. It doesn't sound so bad.
It's not. It's not the worst thing. I think by the time day 3 rolled around, we were a little exhausted, but can't really complain because we were just like, it was pretty fun. So
how many days did you end up taking to do it?
It was 3 days. So we rocked up with plans to do 3 songs, and the guy, so the engineer, guy called James Russell, we rock up there and he's like, no, I got 3 days. Let's do 4. Let's do 4. And we're like, oh fuck, we don't. Got to think of a 4th song. But it just so happened we kind of had one in the back pocket that was sort of a simpler one. So we're like, and it worked out well because it meant we could release it as like an EP as opposed to like a double single or something like that. Have a bit more to put out, considering it had been like a little while since our last release. So we the studio is wild up there. It's like, it has like all these different rooms kind of spread out over this big property. And the name, so Heliport, we like realized pretty quickly why it's called that, because it's got a helipad out the front or out the back, whatever, for whatever reason. We didn't see any helicopters, land, deliver like equipment or whatever, but it's just chilling there.
So is it one of the, look, you tell me the way you describe it, studio outside of town, big property, helipad. There's got to have been some pretty well-known names that have graced the studio, the sound booths of this said studio. There were a couple. I think John Butler was probably one of the biggest ones he sort of talked about. So he had some photos of recording John Butler there, which is because that's what you do. That's what you do in a studio. You walk inside the foyer, and there'll be photos of people that have recorded there. Surely.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like the first single we recorded, Daisy, which was in 2019, that was done at Airlock Studios, which is Ian Hoag's studio from Powderfinger.
Name that's been circulated a bit. Yes.
yeah. You might have heard of them. And so you walk into that studio and it's like, oh yeah, I've just got like all my arias are just like sitting on the mantle. And it's like, all right.
Well, where else are you going to put them?
No, I know.
What are you going to do? Like, there's no practical reason. Like, you get, I want an award show where they give you actually like a glass, like the aria is what they use, like a glass shard. Why don't they give you pint glasses?
yeah, right. That you can use
Wine
for something.
glass or something. Like I remember one year the local badminton club that we were involved with. Yeah, they gave us wine glasses.
Yeah, that's all right.
Now-
At least it's kind of practical.
Yeah, so if you really feel like it, you can still act like it's a piece of expensive crystal. You go, there's my badminton award. Or you can be practical like me and go, well, no, that's a free wine glass. And you run the risk of smashing the 2012 Deniliquin New South Wales Badminton Club top singles for badminton, Division A. But you know what? Saves him buying a new wine glass.
And they probably wouldn't be too happy if you tried to ring them up for a replacement. Explain what happened. With
Well, they're going to go. You broke your award from 8 years ago. What are you going to do? Like, no, they were a one-off thing. No, we're not making you another one. You go in. This is not like if you're thinking that way, Tom. You're obviously very ignorant. Like, no, you don't go into it. You break your award going. You don't go into it thinking I'm going to get another one.
That's
the risk you run.
You want it done. That's true. It's true. So
chalice is a better idea in that case.
Oh yeah, it's something a bit more sturdy. Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah.
See, racing's got this down pat with the cups, so you can drink champagne.
True. Yep. Or even just like World Cups situation.
Yes.
You can probably fit a few bottles in there. To be honest,
you can't put champagne in it. I don't want to be involved in said competition. That's my put down.
Yeah.
Says I don't know how to drive. Well, I don't know how to drive a Formula One. I don't know how to ski.
Yeah, but badminton apparently is the way to go. Yeah, well, no, I don't even remember what the ARIA award looks like, but there are a bunch of them.
Oh no, they've probably changed over the years, but I remember the last few years they've been like a glass shard.
Yeah, it's something abstract like that.
Which is only useful in terms of a home invasion. Let's face it, folks. It's going to be, and to be honest, if you're not, here's my rant coming. If your home gets invaded, folks, by some random robber, what's the nearest, most convenient item to grab? It's whatever's on the mantelpiece. So yes, glass shard may potentially be useful for self-defense.
That's true. And if we're all in the studio, so there's 5 of us, and he's probably got about that many R's, so you can share them around. Everyone gets one.
It's a group effort. It's a group effort, guys.
Yeah, I mean, get the job done quickly.
Quickly and efficiently.
Yeah. Gee, that's a little incriminating, actually. Maybe that's the scandal piece you wanted.
That's all right. You can easily, that's the other use for crystal. You can easily bleach it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Jesus Christ. Yeah, maybe that was...
Where were we?
Maybe Ian knows. Yeah, I don't really remember.
So Ian Hogue's studio, you were saying?
Yeah, so that was for the first thing that we did, but then Heliport was for
certainly stepped up the antics in terms of location by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I mean,
Ian, you may have your arias, but you don't have a helipad.
Yeah, exactly.
Come back to me when we can dock an air blimp at your studio, and then we can talk.
Yeah, I mean, we did half expect James, the engineer, to be, airlifted in and out each day, but unfortunately not. So it seemed like it was no longer in use, or it wasn't in use at the time.
They didn't mention as to what it used to be used for.
I don't think so. Not to my memory. Probably would be used for, but I think it was. I mean, like he didn't own the property. I think the guy who owned the property was just a very wealthy person, I think, and just sort of had a whole bunch of and used the property for a whole bunch of stuff. There are like lots of other sort of buildings on this property that we didn't sort of get to see in. So yeah, a bit of a mystery place. Seems like a bit of a lair, maybe like a kind of a villain's lair type thing.
I was thinking, Bond villain lair. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
honestly. And just if a Bond villain wanted to make some music on the side or something, their passion.
It's all about the publicity. Yeah. It's all about the good PR.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then they can push out their EP, Bond villain EP, whatever that would sound like.
You don't expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond. I expect you to do a 13th take on that guitar line.
Yeah, exactly.
But on the topic of recording, you ended up doing 4 days straight of this thing. Doesn't really leave you with much leeway in terms of wanting to get things done. A song a day is not a lot of time.
Yeah, it was pretty cramped. I think so. What helped us was because we had that whole demo process earlier in the year. It basically, like, all the parts were pretty much laid out. I mean, I know, like, some people, obviously, if you have more access to studios and money and stuff, you can book out a studio for 2 weeks and you can spend a day, mucking around with, like, your guitar tone or doing a vocal take for a song or something. But yeah, because we didn't really have access to that, we just made sure that in the demo process we'd gotten, like, all the parts down, and the tone. We had, like, a pretty solid idea of how it was all going to sound. We just wanted to make it sound more professional and pack more of a punch. But yeah, it definitely did mean, like, we just did all the drums on the first day, maybe a bit of bass as well. And yeah, just, like, kind of smash it through. Guitar takes we had to, like, we did practice a lot beforehand to make sure we weren't, fucking up every other take. So yeah, I mean, a lot of the guitar stuff ended up just sort of being, like, one takes through, which is all right. I mean, it was pretty layered and we were pretty used to playing them, even just playing them live. We've been doing a fair bit, so we were able to, but it was stressful. Particularly adding that 4th song in, and we had, like, Kalia, our drummer, hadn't joined the band at the time,
right?
So we had, like, a session drummer, Max, in, and so he was a champion because we tell him on the day that he comes in, oh yeah, by the way, we're doing a 4th song that you haven't heard before. But he was great. I mean, he was an amazing drummer, so he just was able to pick it up pretty quick, and yeah, he was we pulled it together in the end. But then we had a few more mixing days and half days and stuff just sprinkled throughout, like, the weeks after then. So we sort of did end up going up again just to be in the mixing room and give some kind of some notes and feedback to James and stuff.
I was going to say, with that, because you were so set on everything before you came into the studio, was it a case of you guys having to bring up your own gear? Amps, heads, that sort of thing? Or were you did you have to put your faith into what equipment was there in the studio?
So we brought definitely, like, our own guitars and pedals and stuff because we'd sort of figured out tone, that kind of thing. The studio had, like, a bunch of great amps and stuff that we were more than happy to use. And yeah, obviously, like, he had a few other toys around, other pedals that we could try in case we did want to, like, experiment a little bit. And I think Max ended up bringing, like, his kit, because he was used to his drum kit and playing on his drums, and he was super prepared. He brought, like, a carpet, like his own carpet with markings on it as to where the kit is going to go and stuff. So we're just rolling that out before we get going. Yeah, it's great. So yeah, he was super prepared. He had his sheet music, and, like, he even, like, filmed a bit as he was doing his takes. So it was mostly our own kind of gear. But obviously they had all the expensive microphones and all that kind of stuff.
Never bring your own microphones to a studio, folks.
I feel like you get a weird look from the engineer if you're like, I want to use this, like, $50 eBay mic that I have been using at home.
Hey, don't diss the $50 eBay mic.
Oh no.
Also, depends on what sound you're going for. Like, they may not. You may have your authentic 1940s, cardioid, and you go, no, son, whatever fucking Pro Tools plugin you've got has got nothing against this bad boy for my harmonica solo.
Yeah, it's true. If you're going for that, more kind of lo-fi approach. I mean, those kind of mics have served us well at home. So maybe it's overrated. Maybe we need to bring down the big, expensive studio industry.
Oh, look, blues has been dissing the expensive studio industry since blues was a thing. So
yeah, that's fair.
But that was obviously not your intention with this. I hear I hear no southern sounds in this song.
We did record all this stuff on expensive gear, so yeah.
Look, It's okay.
yeah.
Your next EP can do a full 180. That's fine with us.
Yeah, usually bands go the lo-fi thing first because they're just starting, then they go more professional, but we're going to go the other way. We're going to sound worse and worse with each album in terms of the production quality. I think that'll really, confuse some people.
Each successive release driving more and more people mad. Yeah.
Yeah, but there'll be a small, section of people who are into it, and yeah.
They'll consider it a genius masterstroke. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Really bucking the trend. That's how you make it.
So what's it like working together now that you've got your four piece current lineup set up now? What's it like working with the others as a band, putting the songs together, or writing them, that sort of thing? It
was definitely sort of really nice to get Kalia in on drums because we could sort of relax and figure that out, I guess, figure out how we all would sort of work together. And I guess we still are because she didn't play on this EP, so the stuff we're planning to record later is, she'll be on it. And so she's had a lot more creative say in her parts, which is great. And so, yeah, we're getting back into that kind of demoing phase. And sort of becoming like early when we sort of first started the band, it was very much like, so Jared, our singer, he'd have pretty much a full song, and he'd sort of have some ideas of what it would all sound like to kind of get us going. That's sort of what sort of started the band in the first place. But it's become a bit more collaborative in the sense that he might just have like a half song, or like someone will have a chorus idea or some little thing that they'll take to the band at that stage, before it's fully fleshed out. And that's nice because then you can kind of pick the songs or the ideas that jump out at you, and then, decide to spend the time fleshing those out and making it into like a full song. And so, so then it's definitely become more like someone might take one person will write the choruses and someone else might come up with a bridge idea. And then all our own parts we tend to write, but, me, and so Will plays bass and he writes a lot of guitar parts as well that he comes up with. And so, it's pretty collaborative. We don't do a lot of, I know some bands like to write in like a jam, like a lot of bands will just get in the studio, just play something and just kind of come up with a song, it's never really been the way we like to work. I don't know. Sometimes it feels like you're just eating into a lot of time and you might get a couple cool ideas out of it, but we sort of like to come up with something beforehand before you kind of take it to the band and then think about the song as a whole. Yeah.
So is that just you've tried it and it's sort of you've never really gotten anything out of it?
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's not fair to say like we haven't maybe given it sort of as good a try as we could, but I think it's also the style of music. Like there's some genres and particularly more like dancey or funky genres or jazz stuff, like all that kind of stuff could really benefit from that kind of writing, like writing a jam, getting ideas, songs that sort of evolve, adding different elements to like a central groove. That kind of stuff seems like it would work really well. But I guess because ours is leans more into just like pop structures and songwriting. It kind of works more just to think of the song as a whole. What are the verses going to be and the choruses and stuff. But there have been obviously sometimes if we can't come up with a part, like if we need a guitar part for say the bridge or, the post chorus or something, sometimes we'll jam that bit, we've already got the song in, we'll just jam it. And then like, I'll try a bunch of crap ideas and then might, land on something good after a while. So that stuff's good. But that's usually later on in the process.
So then is it a case of that everybody is pretty comfortable writing for the band at this point in time, or do you find that people are more, that certain people in the band are more comfortable being the primary initial songwriters, and then other people more better with roles of adding additional bits afterwards? What's the dynamic there?
Yeah, that's interesting. I would say that Jared is still sort of the core of he'll often be the one to start the idea, and he's definitely writes most, if not all, of the lyrics. So that and that has a big effect, just because I think, I mean, personally, I find it hard to write lyrics for someone else, and I think some people, this is not necessarily him, but some people don't, find it difficult to take lyrics from other people. If it's sort of quite personal, they find it easy to sing about things that they've written and are more personal to them. So, and we're usually, we're like more than happy to let him take that side of things. So yeah, in some ways, if you're looking lyrically at the songs, he's sort of where the core of that comes from. Whereas the rest of us sort of on the musical side of things, we're sort of a bit more experienced in that area, and we like to take the charge a bit on that. So yeah, but I suppose a song often does start with some chords and some lyrics, or like a melody. So in that sense, I guess like a lot of bands, it usually comes from the singer to start with.
Do you think that lyrics are an important part of setting the tone of the song? Like, does that, when you find out, so when you've got an understanding of what the lyrical, either the content of the song is, or what maybe the themes of it are, does that sort of skew then what, musical choices you make to complete the song because you know what the song's about lyrically?
Yeah, I think it would. I mean, Jared's he's good at establishing a tone in the chords and stuff early on that match what he's singing about. Yeah. But it definitely does. Like, we're not going to, if it's like a melancholy song, we're not going to try and, shove it into like a dance beat or something. So, which, although that could be cool. I mean, never say never. But
Dancing on My Own?
Exactly, yeah, absolutely. A lot of good dance tracks have come out of very sad themes. So.
Juxtaposition is as old as the hills as far as the songwriting technique's concerned. So I feel like, Tom, you're digging yourself into a lyrical hole here. If Jared was here, he'd be tutting you all the way to the all the way to release day.
Yeah, true. I probably spoke too soon, but I think we do have a bit of that in mind. But also, you don't want it to constrict you too much. Like with me, even listening to a lot of music, lyrics are often one of the last things that I get stuck into. And so it can be good to get a bit of distance from, have like a general idea of what's going on lyrically. But if you get pigeonholed into this is kind of a sad song, I have to write like it's got to have piano in it or something rather than like a fuzzy guitar, So yeah, I mean, because we've been wanting to experiment a bit more anyway. So I think, unless it's not making any sense at all for the song, I think we'd keep it pretty free, pretty open.
Fair enough. What's coming up for you guys as you sort of move into the summer and into the new year? What plans are we looking at this stage?
So we've got a bit more, a couple sort of gigs lined up, sprinkled throughout. Nothing really more in terms of the EP release. Like, we had our EP launch gig, so that's all kind of out of the way. So we're back into, we want to keep up the momentum of this release because it was a while between this release and the one prior. Yeah. We're keen to keep it a bit more constant, regular, particularly because we have a lot of songs. We've got like enough material for, our live shows and stuff. So we have a lot of songs that we haven't recorded yet. Okay. And so, we've got a few of those in particular. We're sort of working on 3 songs at the moment with a friend of ours who's a producer. So that's been kind of cool. So that's a bit of a different process because rather than kind of self-producing it and then going to like a studio to record it, we're working with this producer in kind of the early stages. Yeah. It's been great because he just brings like a lot of unique ideas and even like there's instruments that he can play that we can't. And so in different like perspectives in terms of the genres he likes and stuff that just adds some cool flavor to it. So, and then it's just about sort of honing it all in, bringing it together, and then we'll get to the recording stage for those songs as well.
It would add a interesting element, I guess, to something maybe that definitely doesn't seem to be something you guys have explored up till now. So,
yeah, exactly. Which was kind of always the plan after the Pleasure Lies release was to see what it's like to work with a producer in that really experimental phase. Just because, it's more collaboration, and obviously, you can't have too many cooks, but I think it's a lot of these songs are at a stage where they're pretty solid and pretty happy with them, but we think they could be really great if with a bit more fine tuning and a bit more, unexpected elements added to them. And it's great. I mean, it's also, we think as songwriters, I think we've developed a lot since the writing of the songs that are on the Pleasure Lies EP. I mean, we love these songs, but it's that weird feeling of you put out this EP, but you've got all these other songs that are newer and fresher, and you're really excited about them. So it's like you put out an EP and you're already ready to just get onto the next thing, which is great, to keep that momentum going.
Yeah, keep the creative juices flowing, so to speak.
Yeah, that's right.
It sounds certainly interesting, and it will be cool to see you guys put out some more tracks in the coming, whenever it is, I guess, that they eventually get around to releasing it.
Yeah, we'll see. We're thinking hopefully early next year there'll be something on the horizon.
But yeah, apart from that, it's great to have been going and chatting a bit about the process behind the EP that's just been put out, which again, as you mentioned before, is called Pleasure Lies, out now wherever you can stream music, guys. Go and give it a stream when you get a chance. But we are going to play the final track on the record, which is called We're Still One, in a sec. Because you were telling me beforehand that this was, put aside all the pre-planning you guys had done, all the meticulous, thought-out process that you'd thought about for this EP. You decided to put an extra song on the record. So tell us a bit about that and why the hell you decided to add this song in.
I mean, it was partially, a bit of pressure from the very ambitious James, who was our engineer, which we ended up appreciating. I mean, it's great to have 4 songs out instead of 2 or 3 that we planned. We didn't really think we had it in us, but it ended up being okay. So he was sort of like, oh yeah, like just get a 4 song in there, we can knock it out in 3 days. Like it's doable. I mean, he's experienced, so we're like, well, fuck it, we'll just trust him. And so, but yeah, it turned out we had this song that we had sort of worked through it, and it's kind of, I mean, I guess you hear in a sec, but it's kind of, it's a bit more of like a folky country kind of feel to it, and it's quite simple instrumentally. It's really acoustic guitar, driven by acoustic guitar, which sort of Jared had his part down.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to have, and in terms of, getting a drum part together, it also works for that, because it's a simple drum part. All it really needed was, some kick drum and like a tambourine, a bit of shaker in there to give it some atmosphere and some body. And I think a lot of my guitar parts were sort of written either during the recording session or just before.
Yeah.
But I ended up being quite happy. Like as the song kind of gained this folk like aura around it, I sort of did some kind of country-esque sort of guitar lines and stuff, which ended up fitting really nicely. And then we ended up doing a lot of like backing vocals at the end, which was cool. That was like James kind of suggested a lot of sort of doubling and call and response that we could add in at the end, which gave it a lot of heart. And so it was interesting. It was one of the songs we kind of had, and it felt like a half idea. But once we finished it and added all those elements, like it's sort of become one of my favorites from the EP, and a lot of people like it. It's a really sweet song. And having added all those elements, it's suddenly sounds a lot fuller, and it's quite a personal song, and it's this really nice way to finish it off. So we were happy to get it done.
That's it. Yeah. Look, if you know what, it's a happy coincidence, a happy accident. It's always a winner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, we're going to play it right now, but I want to thank Tom for coming on. Thank you for I guess, sharing your secrets.
The peek behind the veil, yeah.
No, thanks so much, and all the best to the band. Hopefully, you can get you guys down here at some point.
Yes,
old Melbourne way at some point in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, another talking about big dreams and stuff. Yeah, tour down the East Coast in Melbourne would be amazing. So yeah, hopefully not too far away. But yeah, thanks so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No, pleasure. And all the best for what the future has to hold. Tom, we are going to go out on the song. Can you be a doll and tell us who you are, or where you're from, and what's the name of the song?
So this next song is called We're Still One. I'm Tom. I play guitar in With Blue. It's from our latest release, Pleasure Lies.
I guess I started about a month ago, booking tickets, planning to see the show. I got the feeling when I started rubbing your nose. And I know I talk too much when I'm high and have a habit of watching the world go by. I guess I got something else on my mind. Then all at once, in a way, I feel your love. And now and again you wait, but we're still one. How I love it when you're unaware, sitting pretty, I just had to stop. I thought I had it when I started floating on air. And you know how I get lost in your eyes when I'm with you, seeing the years go by. Guess I got something else on my mind. Then all at once, in a way, I feel your love. Now and again you wait, but we're still one. Once in a way, I feel your love. Now and again you wait, but we're still one. We're still one. We're still one. We're still one. We're still
AustralianMusiciansRadio.com